one thing and you mix it with another thing, then it hardens. But if you add some in that's not supposed to be there and it's fully developed,
right,
you're not going to take that out. Like if you added oil, you threw some oil in the epoxy, like, now you f***ed that whole thing up. That's kind of what you're doing to a person when you raise a person famous. If you take some reality star from the time they're 5 and then they're in a sitcom and a movie, and then you've gone through your whole, I don't know why I said reality star, but you've gone through your whole life. If you're that person, if you're Justin Bieber, you've gone through your whole life.
Under that eye.
Under the eye. And it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and more people paying attention. Like you never had a moment like you did where you're working for the railroad tracks.
Right.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Joe Rogan recently stepped into a conversation that's been gaining attention online, especially when it comes to how young artists experience fame in the entertainment industry. During one of his discussions, Joe Rogan talked about patterns people have started noticing over time, particularly how early fame can shape someone's life in ways the public doesn't always see. Naturally, this brought attention to major figures like Justin Bieber, who entered the spotlight at a very young age and grew up under constant public attention. Many fans have revisited old interviews and moments, trying to better understand what that journey was really like behind the scenes. In these broader conversations, other well-known names like Ellen DeGeneres and Diddy also come up, not as confirmed claims, but as part of discussions about how connected the entertainment world can be. For years, daytime TV and celebrity appearances have been viewed as light and positive. But now, people online are looking back at old clips and interactions with a more critical lens, asking new questions about how these environments operated, especially for young stars. It's important to note that much of this conversation is based on public clips, interviews, and fan interpretations, not confirmed facts. Still, it highlights a bigger topic: how early exposure to fame, powerful networks, and constant pressure can impact someone over time. And as more people revisit these moments, the focus is slowly shifting from just what we saw on the surface to trying to understand the full picture of growing up in the spotlight.
No, it's great. So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to
No,
any
well,
of them.
is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then No, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them. Oh. Is that going to be a new thing? Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are going to have blisters. You're going to be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
In online discussions, Joe Rogan has often talked about broader patterns in the entertainment industry, especially how influence, access, and connections can shape careers behind the scenes. These conversations sometimes lead people online to reflect on how major public figures and institutions interact within the same spaces in Hollywood and media. Names like Ellen DeGeneres and Ghislaine Maxwell are occasionally mentioned in online debates, not as confirmed links, but as reference points people use when discussing how power structures and social networks can operate in high-profile industries. The key idea being discussed is simple. In any industry where fame and influence exist, there are always systems of access, people who introduce talent, guide careers, and help shape public paths. However, most of this remains unseen from the outside. Bringing the focus back, many people also revisit the early career of Justin Bieber, who entered global fame at a very young age. His rise is often used in discussions about how child artists experience sudden exposure, intense schedules, and overwhelming public attention. In his early journey, Mentorship from established artists like Usher played a visible role in guiding his career path. This is commonly highlighted when people talk about how young talent is introduced into the music industry. Over time, fans and commentators have revisited old interviews and clips, leading to broader discussions about fame, pressure, and how differently things can appear when viewed years later. It all circles back to a bigger question people often debate online. How does early fame affect young artists, and what challenges come with growing up under constant public attention?
Tired of being played out. Like, all of this is weird. And it's just, it's the symbolism. It's all of that. I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher sued. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him, because what I'm realizing is that he's going to fake the funk until the victim, man. He's just going to keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you got to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away. Right? When the baby's used to sucking on the pacifier.
In recent years, older interview clips involving public figures like Sean Diddy Combs have resurfaced online, sparking renewed discussion and interpretation across social media. These clips are often being rewatched in a new context, especially as audiences revisit how celebrity culture and mentorship were discussed in the past. At the same time, Justin Bieber has remained a central figure in conversations about growing up in the spotlight, since his early rise to fame placed him under intense public attention from a very young age. Commentators and creators like Joe Rogan have often highlighted a general idea in the entertainment world, that mentorship and fame do not always come with clear boundaries, and public perception of old interviews can change significantly over time. However, it's important to note that much of this discussion is based on interpretation of resurfaced clips and online commentary, rather than confirmed facts. As a result, what once may have seemed like normal celebrity interaction is now being re-examined by audiences through a modern lens, especially in terms of how young artists experience fame, guidance, and pressure. This shift in perception is less about proving anything specific and more about how public understanding evolves when old content is viewed in a completely new cultural context.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but, it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
He signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
In several interviews over the years, Justin Bieber has spoken openly about the emotional side of growing up in the spotlight, sharing moments that reflect the pressure, isolation, and intensity that can come with early fame. At times, he has also expressed how difficult it can be to navigate trust and relationships in the entertainment industry, especially when you're surrounded by fast-moving careers and constant public attention. More recently, public discussions hosted by figures like Joe Rogan have focused on a broader idea that young artists entering the industry are influenced not just by one person, but by entire environments filled with managers, mentors, collaborators, and industry professionals. From this perspective, responsibility and influence are often shared across many layers of the system, rather than resting on a single individual. This has led to wider conversations about how the entertainment industry operates as a whole, and how important it is to ensure that young talent is properly supported, guided, and protected as they navigate fame at an early age.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. I just want to protect her, I don't want her to.
In ongoing online discussions, Ellen DeGeneres is sometimes mentioned alongside other major entertainment figures when people talk about how closely connected celebrity networks can appear from the outside. In broader commentary, Joe Rogan has often highlighted a general idea that the entertainment industry is made up of overlapping circles, managers, hosts, artists, and collaborators, where young talent can be introduced to fast-moving and high-pressure environments early in their careers. From that perspective, many online conversations shift toward a wider question about the industry as a whole, how emerging artists navigate fame, expectations, and public attention while still developing personally and professionally. This also leads to comparisons with different public figures over time, including moments in the careers of artists like Will Smith, whose life and work have been widely discussed in terms of success, challenges, and the pressures that come with long-term fame. Rather than focusing on isolated individuals, these conversations tend to center on a larger theme: how the entertainment world operates as a network of relationships, and how young talent experiences that system as they grow within it. Ultimately, the discussion reflects a broader curiosity from audiences about fame, influence, and how the industry has evolved over time.
All of those children that were harmed and corrupted while in his care, they grew up to be men. Boys like Bashir Gray, August Alsina, your own son. Like, your own son. Do people forget about that voice clip that I played from Brother Belial? See, they're trying to sell him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present that tape.
It's great. I'm watching him, he's with my man Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love.
In broader entertainment discussions, some public figures are often referenced when talking about the challenges of growing up around fame and attention at a young age. For example, Jaden Smith has frequently been part of wider conversations about being raised in the public eye, where personal development and global attention happen at the same time. Similarly, other young artists like August Alsina have spoken in interviews over the years about their personal journeys, which has led to public discussions around emotional well-being, relationships, and the pressures of the entertainment world. Commentators like Joe Rogan often emphasize a broader viewpoint rather than focusing on individual cases, highlighting how multiple young artists across different eras experience similar challenges when entering fast-paced entertainment environments. The key idea being discussed is not about one specific story, but about patterns in general, how early exposure to fame, public attention, and industry pressure can affect young artists differently over time. This has led audiences to reflect more on the importance of guidance, structure, and mental health support for anyone growing up in the spotlight.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. Mm-hmm. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly and really, really deeply loved and have a ton of love for her. I devoted myself.
You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided.
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement. With August.
Looking back at the early rise of Justin Bieber, many fans continue to reflect on how intense and fast his journey into global fame really was. From early mentorship connections like Usher to interactions within the wider entertainment world that included appearances and public moments with figures such as Ellen DeGeneres, his career has often been discussed in terms of how young artists navigate sudden attention and responsibility. Over time, public interest in old interviews and clips has grown, with audiences revisiting them through a more modern perspective. This is a common pattern in celebrity culture, where past moments are reinterpreted as people gain new context and awareness. However, it's important to remember that much of what circulates online is based on public footage, commentary, and personal interpretation rather than confirmed facts. The broader question this raises is not about one individual story, but about the entertainment industry as a whole, how fame, mentorship, and pressure intersect when young talent enters the spotlight early in life. And ultimately, it leaves viewers with a bigger reflection. How does the industry protect young artists, and what lessons can be learned from how fame has evolved over time?